The doorbell made a loud noise while I was watching TV. It made me curious, so I stood up and walked to the door. I looked through the small hole in the door and wondered how she found me. I thought about going back to watch TV and ignoring her, but then I realized she probably wouldn't leave until she talked to me. I made sure the door was safe and opened it a little. We looked at each other. "What do you want?" I asked. She said she wanted to talk. I reminded her that when I left, I made it clear I didn't want to see her again. She didn't understand why I left. "I came back home, but you weren't there. There wasn't a note or anything, just your stuff was gone." "Are you serious? How could you not know why? I warned you about what would happen if you did what you were planning to do." "Can I come in?" I decided it was best to let her in, so I unlocked the door and she came in. She sat on the couch and asked for a glass of water. While I got it, I remember the night everything started. When I got home from work, my wife Alice was all dressed up. I didn't know we had plans to go out. "We don't," she told me. "I have a date tonight." "With who?" "Someone from work. A man. He's new here, so not many people know him. He asked me to go to Sylvia's birthday party because he didn't want to go alone." "He does know you are married, doesn't he?" "It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to happen between us. Besides, I don't want to go to Sylvia's party alone, and you won't go with me, so I told him I'd go with him. You understand why I refused to. I detest being around that woman. Additionally, I don't want you to interact with her in any way. Get used to it, Sam. She's been my best friend since the first grade, and I won't turn my back on her just because you don't like her. I don't like her because she has been divorced 4 times, and each time it was because she got caught cheating on her husband. I don't like going to her parties because there are drugs there. Do you think just because she cheated, I will cheat too, just because I'm around her? Now that you mention it, I think it's possible. You're wearing a sexy black dress for another man. You're obviously dressing up for him, and I can only think of one reason why you dress like that. That's a mean thing to say." "No, it's not. What did you wear to the last 2 parties at Sylvia's?" "Let me remind you, you wore nice pants and a shirt to one and jeans and a sweater to the other. I know why you're dressed like that for the party. Sylvia convinced you to try something new. I've heard her talk about her wild parties for years. She finally got what she wanted." "You're wrong. It's not like that. It's easy to prove me wrong. Stay here with me. Don't go." "I can't. Tom needs me. And he's more important to you than I am. If you go, you're saying goodbye to our marriage. That's silly. This won't hurt us." "Don't wait up," she said as she left. "Goodbye, Alice," I said firmly. She hesitated for a moment, then left. Did I overreact? I don't think so. I knew about Sylvia's parties from my friends. After the non-participants left, they turned into wild parties. Alice didn't join in, but she stayed and watched. I heard Sylvia telling Alice to forget about me and join in. Alice always said she wanted to, but wouldn't unless I joined too. I knew I wouldn't join. I tried to convince Alice to stop hanging out with Sylvia, but they were best friends. I spent the evening thinking about what to do. I thought about divorce, but I didn't know if Alice would cheat on me. Could I stay with her if she didn't care about me anymore? We had 7 good years together, except for her spending time with Sylvia, who I didn't like. I thought Sylvia was bad, and Alice knew it. You might wonder why I didn't talk to Alice about Sylvia's parties. I needed to see if Alice would cheat on me. If I talked to her and she stopped going to Sylvia's parties, would she do it somewhere else? I might never know, but if she did it at Sylvia's, I had friends who would tell me. I still didn't know what to do when I went to bed. The phone woke me up, and I thought it was 1 a.m. I wondered who was calling me so late. Hey, are you awake? Hey dummy, did I wake you up? What do you want, Sylvia? Just calling to tell you that your wife found someone new. What are you talking about? Just what I said. Alice found someone who can give her what she really wants. Listen to this. I listened as I heard intimate sounds. Then I heard, God, yes, take me please, hard. The voice was the voice of my wife. I hung up the phone. 30 seconds later, it rang again, and I knew who it would be. So I picked up the handset and dropped it on the floor. One of the good things about living in an apartment is that you don't accumulate a lot of stuff because you have no place to put it. I had all that I wanted packed and out in the truck in just over an hour. I was in a motel by 3 o'clock and at the bank when the doors opened at 9 o'clock. I cleaned out all the accounts and then drove over to my job, told Jake I was quitting without notice and why. He said he understood, cut me my final check, helped me load my tools, told me I could give him as a reference, and wished me well. My phone had been ringing since 7, and all the calls were from Alice. I finally turned it off and made a mental note to get a new number. Then I changed my mind. I didn't know if Alice could get the new number out of our cell phone provider or not. I decided to pitch the phone in the trash can and buy a track phone at Walmart. I didn't need to do anything with credit cards since Alice and I didn't have any joint cards. She had 2 in her name, and I had 3 in mine. By 10, I was on the road to a destination I hadn't yet decided on. All I knew was that it had to be miles and miles away from Alice. I finally landed up in Castle Rock, Colorado. I found a job in my field and settled in to start my new life. If we got divorced, Alice would have to start it. If she did, she'd know where to find me. After a year, she could claim abandonment, but it wouldn't matter to me because I didn't plan to marry again. The next 2 years were good. I dated and had a friend, and now this. I warned you about going on that date. You ignored me and went anyway, so I did what I said I would. How did you find me? A very expensive private detective. Why did you bother? You are my husband, the whither thou goest thing and that kind of stuff. How did you come up with the money to pay a very expensive private detective on a secretary's wages? I sold the house. What house? The one I was awarded in the suit. I started to ask what suit and what house, but caught myself. It just didn't matter. Well, you wasted your money and the time it took you to get here because we are done. You did just what I knew you were going to do when you walked out on me to go to that party. And don't bother wasting your time trying to tell me nothing happened. Your witch best friend called me at 1 o'clock in the morning and then held the phone to where I could listen to what was going on. You, God, yes, take me please, hard came through loud and clear and said it all. She was successful. Maybe I ought to have pursued retribution with greater vigor. I guess I need to tell you what happened since you weren't there to see or hear about it. I did not go to that party to get screwed. It was the farthest thing from my mind. I guess maybe I did overdress for the party, but Sylvia asked me to. For some reason, she didn't like Todd, or so she said, but she couldn't tell him not to come to the party because it was an open invitation to everyone in the office. She asked me to dress revealing and let him think he was going to get lucky. I liked dressing up, and so I did. Todd did take one look at me and think he was going to hit the jackpot that night. He stuck to me like he was glued to me, almost like he was afraid that if he wasn't near, someone else might get me. It was a fun party, and even though Todd hovered by, I guess the other guys thought I looked hot that night and I did dance with several guys. Just as the party was breaking up, I started feeling dizzy and lightheaded. Sylvia told me she thought I'd had too much to drink that night and she had me lie down in one of her spare bedrooms. I don't know how or when it started, but I slowly became aware that I was being made love to. I thought I was home in bed with you until I heard someone say, "Hurry it up, will you? I'm next." I looked around and saw Sylvia along with Todd and Ben Grady. I saw several other guys standing around without clothes. One of them was apparently the guy who was supposed to be next. You know me, Sam. You know how I get when we make love. I lose it. I become a mere vessel of pleasure. I don't know how many did me before I passed out. I woke up the next morning next to Bob Flanagan. He was lying on his side looking at me. I saw his expression and asked, "What?" He said, "I never expected you to cheat on Sam, but I'm glad you did and hope to see you again." I slapped him on the cheek, got dressed, and went to the hospital. I told them I thought someone had drugged me. They tested me and found Rohypnol and ecstasy in my blood. Then they called the police. While waiting for the police, I tried calling you, but you didn't answer. I found out why I couldn't reach you when I got home and found you gone. When the police talked to me, I told them what I knew and what little I remembered. The first one they talked to was Flanagan. He told them he had no idea I was drugged and thought nothing of taking me because that is what always happened at Sylvia's parties, and I knew it and had even stood around and watched. He said he figured that I had finally decided to give it a try. He gave them the names of all the men he knew of who had done me that night. The police thought that Todd had to be part of what happened to me that night, and when they leaned on him, he rolled over and told them it was all Sylvia's doing. She just knew that I really wanted to join in, so she decided to give me a push. She figured that once the drug wore off, I'd still be into it, love it, and want to do it again. She was right about that. I loved it, but where she messed up was she didn't listen when I said I wouldn't join without you. You had to agree, or I wouldn't do it. After the hospital and the police, a policeman took me home, and I found out why you didn't answer my calls. I cried for 2 days, then got a lawyer and sued everyone at the party who hurt me. Most of the suits were thrown out because they said the same thing Bob Flanagan did, but the suits against Sylvia and Todd were valid because they planned it. I won my suits, but Sylvia only had her house. They asked if I would take it as a settlement. She still owed $30,000 on it, but with what I got from Todd, I paid it off and sold the house. With that money, I hired a detective, and here I am. And you spent money on the PI and your time to come here for what? To get back together? I love you and belong with you. You would have been smart to have spent your money on an attorney to get you a divorce. You could have used abandonment as grounds. I don't want a divorce, Sam. What you want or don't want doesn't matter to me anymore, Alice. I didn't do it willingly, Sam. I was drugged. But you did willingly walk out the door even though I told you if you walked out that door you were kissing your marriage goodbye. Well, you ignored what I said and walked out that door. The way I left should have told you that you would be wasting your time and money to get here. I have to be here if I'm going to put us back together. You aren't paying any more attention to what I'm saying now than you did on the evening you walked out on me. Pay attention, Alice. I don't want you. You can't put us back together because I do not, emphasis on the do not, want to get back together with a woman who could do what you did. Damn it, Sam. Can't you understand that I did not do it of my free will? I was drugged. You are the one not understanding things, Alice. It's not about what happened at Sylvia's, even though I thought it might happen and warned you. It's about what you did before leaving for her party. It was the way you disrespected me before going out with someone else. When you said, "Don't be ridiculous, Sam. This won't hurt us at all," as you left for your date, it ended any chance of us working things out. Please leave now. I need to get ready for dinner. I'm hungry. You can join me, and we can talk. I'm going to convince you that you are wrong when you say we can't put things back together. Her words hadn't even faded before the front door opened, and an extremely good-looking blonde walked in calling out, "I'm home, babe." "What's for dinner?" Then she saw Alice and asked, "Who is this?" "This is Alice. You've heard me speak of her a time or two." "Alice, this is Beverly." Beverly surprised Alice when she walked over to her, bent down, gave her a hug, and said, "Thank you for sending Sam to me." Then she turned to me and asked, "What's for dinner?" I thought we would go out. I booked a table at Angela's. I'll go get ready. It was nice meeting you, Alice. Maybe we can meet up sometime and chat more. Then she went to the bedroom. You should go now. Oh. I need to get ready for dinner. Does she know you're still married? Yes, she does. You should tell her I'm going to fight for you, Sam. Be realistic, Alice. For you to fight for me, you would need to spend time with me, and that just isn't going to happen. Get a divorce and find yourself another man, and when you do, don't pull on him what you pulled on me. There were tears sliding down her cheeks when she said, "Damn it, Sam, why can't you understand that I did not cheat on you? I was drugged." So what? You had to be there in order to be drugged, and that is the point. I told you not to go. I told you when you opened the door to leave that if you left, you were kissing your marriage goodbye. You didn't listen to me. You left, so our marriage is over. It's that simple. Now please go. I need to get ready for a dinner date. I won't divorce you, Sam, but you should tell your girlfriend that she can't marry you. She's already married, just like me. Her husband won't agree to divorce, and she won't spend money trying to get one. I'll leave, but I won't go far. I can't win you back from a distance, so I'm moving here. I'm determined to win you back. No, Alice, you're not. I've told you this many times, and you need to understand that I'm serious. I don't want you. Please leave. She was crying, but she left. Bev came into the room looking happy. Why aren't you ready? Changed your mind about going? No, it just took longer to get her to leave than I expected. Is she gone for good? She should be. I made it clear I want nothing to do with her. That's good, because I'm not letting you get away from me. I smiled and said, "Give me 10 minutes, and I'll be ready to go." For more interesting videos, please subscribe our channel.